Sage of the Shadows, where dark whispers echo through the night.
Audio story, Blood Twins. Chapter 2, Between the Claws of Fate. A 20-year-old man with a lean but strong build, his light, pale skin highlighted under the stark glow of emergency lights, approached the crime scene. His short black hair, styled into a subtle faux hawk, added an edge to his diamond-shaped face. The simple dark t-shirt and pants he wore moved quietly against him as he walked, lending an understated readiness to his presence. A few officers stood in front, clearly trying to shield the crime scene from view, but it was futile. The remains, or what was left of them, were strewn across the ground in a grotesque display. It was nearly impossible to identify the victims. Whoever had done this had ensured that recognition would be an ordeal. "Togi," a voice called, pulling him from his shock. He turned, vivid green eyes wide with horror, as if the sound had yanked him back to reality. It took him a moment to steady himself, but even then, the questions swirling in his mind multiplied. Each one cut deeper than the last. Who, or what, could be so merciless as not just to kill but to desecrate victims beyond recognition? Was this some twisted act of revenge? But the stench of blood hinted at something else, something that wasn't fueled by vengeance. No, this had the marks of raw, unrestrained savagery. And even then, he reasoned, there had to be a purpose. Even mindless creatures have rules, instincts that drive them to satisfy basic needs. As he fought to overcome his paralysis, he noticed someone watching him. A man who could have been his older mirror image, aged by additional 20 hard years. His own sharp jawline and high cheekbones reflected in the man's weathered face. "Yes?" Togi managed, inwardly cursing the weakness in his voice. It was cracked and uncertain, betraying his shock. The older man sighed. "That's why I called you," he said, a weary look in his eyes. "We need to end this now." "How many?" Togi's voice faltered. "If our count is accurate, around 20. The man's voice was a low murmur, meant for Togi alone. His haggard expression revealed how long the night had been, filled with reports of killings that seemed never-ending. "Damn," Togi muttered. He shifted his weight, muscles coiling as he steeled himself. "I'll do what I can." The older man nodded and stepped back. Togi moved into the crime scene, each step deliberate, navigating the shattered remains of bodies, clothing, and personal belongings. The ground was a minefield of grotesque evidence. He knew, with chilling certainty, that this night would haunt him for a long time. No matter how many horrors he'd witnessed before, this surpassed them all. Whoever did this wasn't just hungry, they were desperate. Togi halted abruptly when he spotted a red handprint smeared on the wall, a pool of vomited blood beneath it. His brows furrowed, making the striking green of his eyes appear even sharper against the backdrop of carnage. "It's most likely a new one," he said, turning to look at his father, who watched in grim silence. The older man nodded, his eyes hardening at the confirmation. "Without guidance, they won't stop," his father said, anger seeping into his tone. "Can you track it?" The question hung in the air, heavy with fear poorly disguised. Togi responded with a confident, almost defiant smile, a glint in his green eyes as if to say the task was child's play. Then, in an instant, he was gone, a blur of movement. His sudden departure startled his father, who scanned the scene again, eyes darting over the blood-splattered chaos. The patterns made no sense, looping and overlapping in a maddening dance. It wasn't just the sight that confused him, even his instincts were at war. That was why he called Togi. His son, with a wiry frame that belied strength and agility, could track anything, anyone, faster than anyone else. And he had to, if they were to prevent more bloodshed. Yet, deep inside, a chill gnawed at him. Togi had always been able to follow the trail, no matter where it led, even when death was close behind.